miss my best friend. He really is the best man. How I miss my best friend. You miss him too. How I miss my best friend. He really is the best man. How I miss my best friend. You miss him too.
Good morning, friends. It's time for the fall 2025 Homestead Tour. So if you're wondering what the tour is, so every spring and fall we open up our homestead. We have about 20 to 30 people come out, and we basically just give them a tour of all the projects that we worked on here. Of course, Ashley always makes some delicious food for everybody. And we just hang out and we have a good time and we tour the property. It gives us a really good excuse to clean up around here and make it look a little bit nicer than it does sometimes when we're in the middle of a zillion different projects. But yeah, so we're up early this morning and we still have about an hour and a half before people show up. So we're just kind of getting stuff ready, making sure we have everything in place, and we can't wait till everybody gets here. Gather around. I do need a megaphone. That would be cool. We should get a karaoke.
Be cheaper.
Then we'll have a party.
Yeah. Afterwards.
All right, welcome to the Tiny Shiny Homestead. Thank you guys so much for coming. We love meet and greets because we just get to hang out and talk and walk around and look at stuff and
work.
Answer all your questions. So we're really thankful you guys are here. We know we're kind of in the middle of nowhere, and many of you have traveled very long distances, so thank you so much. So we're gonna keep it real simple today. We've got tour in the morning, so from now until lunchtime, basically, we're just going to hit every building that we've worked on. We're going to try to do it in chronological order this time, just to give you an idea of like our process as we built up the homestead. And then we've got lunch up here. And then after that, we'll get nerdy and we'll talk about like solar, rainwater catchment, permaculture. And then at the end of the day, we're going to gather around the bench, the new half-finished bench. And we're going to do a little question and answer session. This is the first thing that we built. We moved out here, it was 2020, and we had a lot of ideas about how we were going to build out here. And I was talking to Bruce about the opt-out, right? So the owner-builder opt-out was a big reason we moved here. We knew that we needed a place to store our power system because we knew we were going to build a big solar system. But coming from our Airstream days, we also knew we wanted it to be multifunctional. So we wanted to build something that would have a bed in it, that would have an office in it, and then also have all of the solar gear, basically. So the original design for the solar shed was actually straw bale, and we were going to do passive solar, which is what this ended up being here, the windows at the top and the shade over them depending on the time of year. It was COVID, right? And so the cost of all the materials went through the roof, and so we were going to have to deck it to build it up, and the cost of the decking was going to be like more than we wanted to spend on the whole building. And so we started looking at other things, and we found earthbags, and we'd been looking at earthbags a little bit, but we went and visited a guy in Bisbee who was building a Hyperadobe earthbag. It was something we'd never heard of it, and he had just kind of, I don't even know where he found out about it. I don't know. His name's Clay. He's really cool. He's a realtor in the area, and he was building with these bags that were mesh, and so they didn't require barbed wire. And if we were, our kids were a lot smaller, and we were like, well, this could be cool, and the bags were way cheaper, and so we're like, let's just do it. And so we just did it. We had no idea what we were doing, but I think this may be my favorite building we've built so far to completion. It had a really clear vision from the beginning of its utility, and then as we kind of learned about natural building, like we figured out plastering and like all these different things that turned out really well.
Like that mesh, do you have to get that covered pretty quick before it starts to deteriorate, or?
Yeah, so So Superadobe bags, those are the white slippery ones that have the barbed wire in between them. That's what we built Adelaide's Dome out of. They are not UV treated, and they do break down really fast.
I think it's 300 hours of sunlight.
Yeah, so you need to get them covered as quickly as possible. The Hyperadobe bags are manufactured by a company called Volm, and they're in Wisconsin, and they UV treat them. And so I think that's where the red color actually comes from. They've told us 4 to 5 years in this UV, which is really harsh. I mean, we've had stuff out here for years, and we've never seen any bags fall apart other than stuff that we've like caught with something and ripped, or the dogs have, you know, or the cats or whatever. Like, they don't just start shredding. Like, the Superadobe will literally start flaking microplastics everywhere, and like there's little strands of stuff all over the place that you have to pick up all the time. We've never seen any of that with the Hyperadobe bags. Yeah, so we'll take a few people in at a time, so you can check out the inside, see Ashley's beautiful interior plasterwork. And you can see some of the solar system. The batteries are covered up, but you can see the inverter and the charge controllers and all that stuff.
For the house and stuff, we live near a bunch of wineries, so they save us their bottles.
And then inside here is our solar pump system. So it's got like a battery and a little 12-volt water pump like you find in an RV. Our second project here on the homestead, the earthbag chicken garden. So the idea behind this building was that the center area would be sort of a chicken run, and then attached into that is a little chicken coop, and then the outside ring would be a garden, right?
It's going to be when it will still happen. It's not till the house
This is
done.
like the one project we did not finish. We got to the end of the building, and this was right around the time when the plaster was failing over on the solar shed. And if you look at this building, you realize that because it's open air, it's like 10 times the amount of surface area compared to a regular building, because not only are you plastering the outside, you're plastering the outside and the top and the inside, the outside, the top, and the inside. So it would have been a small fortune in stucco and elastomeric to even do anything with this. We started stuccoing this, but we got to winter, and you can't stucco in like lower than 40 degrees. We were going right into winter, and so that's when we started working on the composting toilet outhouse building. And we just never came back to this because we need to work. We get to get going on the house. All of the stuff that we did in the beginning was learning how to build with earth bags, what our limits were, different, ways we could try things, different ways we could do bottle bricks, and how we could use the bags in different ways. And so, yeah, this one I think was probably a little bigger than it should. It really sidetracked us for a long time because it was so big.
So it's going to be beautiful when it's done. So it's going to be a long time before it's done.
The original idea for this building was a composting toilet outhouse. It was a big failure. And then we just shut it off, and we're like, we don't ever want to come in here again.
It sat for a year
because
unused.
it was disgusting. And so her dad, he's like, you plumbed it to the septic. He's like, we could come in and we could put in a real toilet.
And we happened to use 3-inch pipe, which we didn't need to. We needed like a 2-inch pipe, but they didn't have it at the time, so we put in 3.
Mm-hmm.
And thank goodness we did. Yeah. So now we can have a real toilet.
Yeah. So he came out and we sort of replanned the whole thing. We literally had to dig everything back out. We had to take all the barrels out. We had to fill it all back in, replumb it. We ran electrical conduit underground, and we trenched and brought electrical into it. And then we poured a concrete floor. And so now it has a sink and a toilet and a washer dryer. And it's like the most functional building on our homestead for sure. Bottles, you know, are all.
I call it the Gum Homestead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Cool stuff there.
Yeah.
Well, I got a couple still.
When you invite complete strangers to your homestead, you never know who's going to show up. But thanks to today's video sponsor, Reolink, we can keep a close eye on things here at the homestead.
Now, as you can see, the Reolink Argus 4 Pro is a little bit different than our other cameras here on the homestead. It has a 180-degree blind spot-free field of view without needing moving parts. The high-res twin lenses allow for smart dual image stitching, impressive 4-color reproduction, and even night color vision. It also uses dual-band Wi-Fi 6 for fast transfers and low latency, and we appreciate the 30% better battery life and option to charge via solar.
With this camera, we can keep a close eye on who's coming, who's going, whether we have a delivery, or just when our guests have arrived.
Yeah, just the other day, we had a package delivered that needed a signature, and thankfully, the notification went off and I was able to come down and sign for it. And just a few minutes ago, the FedEx guy had to actually come in and deliver something heavy. We had to open the gate for him and we knew that he was there, which is really nice. It's really easy to use the app and define exactly how you want the notifications to work. You can choose like how far out from the gate you want it to sense, and if you want it to leave out animals or show you animals. We definitely get cow notifications all the time. It totally happens. The other day, I got a notification and I couldn't see anything, and then all of a sudden a crow had been sitting on the gate and it flew off, and that's what triggered.
Cool.
Cool story. We've been using this camera since the beginning of the year, and it's worked great. We love that we can see full color all day and all night, and the setup couldn't have been easier.
This weatherproof workhorse of a camera is built to withstand even the harshest conditions that our desert has to offer.
Now, this isn't our only Reolink camera. We have a bunch of others, some in the goat barn, some on the fence post. We're keeping an eye on the perimeter of our property, and we can do it all from the same Reolink app because all of the cameras are connected to the home hub. Just, it makes it really easy.
And we even have the ability to keep adding more cameras as our property expands, and we want to keep an eye on everything.
Everything.
We would like to say a huge thank you to Reolink for sponsoring today's video and for keeping us safe and secure here on the homestead.
If you would like to get your hands on your own Argus 4 Pro, use the link in our description. And now let's get back to the homestead tour.
Joy in the rain, oh, this won't stop my joy. This won't stop my, joy in the morning, joy in the rain, joy in the morning, joy in the rain, oh, this won't stop.
We learned a whole lot doing this. Obviously, this was a completely different style of construction than what we had been doing earth bags, you know, and this was trusses and heavy duty equipment, and we had to rent like a scissor lift to put the thing together, and we had to have the concrete pad poured and send all the plans and have the bolts set into place so that when we started assembling it all actually fit together. It's very stressful. I was really worried about that. But yeah, it's open air, and we kept it open because we wanted to be able to continue to see the mountains out of the Airstream. If I had to do it again, I would have not gone quite as high, and I would have made it wider so we had a little more shade. In the summer, it's pretty well shaded most of the day, and we have added this shade cloth here to help at the very end of the day when the sun is right there and that whole side is getting blasted. And that makes a huge difference, especially with the mini split in it and then with the shade cloth over it. We'll take the shade cloth down here in probably a month as we're sort of reaching that fall and winter time of the year. We wanted the Airstream to be comfortable. We wanted to have power to it all the time. We wanted to have water to it all the time, pressurized water. And then we wanted to basically be able to drain out of it, you know, into something. Obviously our septic is all the way down there, so it wasn't going to be the main septic. Pressurized water goes out of the back into it, and you know, we have our, obviously there's a spigot out here, and we've got the power coming in, you can see there, so the RV is always connected to it.
So much that I could say. Oh, no matter what I do, I rotate back to you. It's a mystery, but it's true. I rotate back to you. I rotate back to you. I can never turn it off.
And Adelaide said, I would like that, please. And so that is now Adelaide's room, and at least until we finish the house. So she has agreed to let us poke our heads inside and look. So thank you, Adelaide. And then we have the little fireplace that helps keep it warm too. In the summer, it gets pretty hot. And so we've had to add like an air conditioner in there during, what would you say, like June, September? Yeah. Pretty simple. It does have a little solar, it has one solar panel and a little like EcoFlow in it, and we've wired a bunch of power into it. So okay, so that's a good question. She asked, why did we not build the dome out of Hyperadobe? So Superadobe and barbed wire are, at least at this point, the only safe way I know to make a dome. And the reason for that is that as you lay that dome, as you get up top, everything is hanging over to the inside, right? So each time you come up, you're hanging over, hanging over, hanging over. You have to have that barbed wire to make sure it doesn't slip and fall in. As far as we know, and this is something we still hope to test at one point, but I don't think the barbed wire will hold Hyperadobe bags because they're very thin and stretchy, whereas Superadobe bags are very thick and slippery, but once that barb goes into it, it doesn't move. Whereas the Hyperadobe bags are really stretchy, and I don't think they're very structural that way. Still, we hope to try to build a dome with Hyperadobe one day, but at this point, we don't recommend it just because we've never seen it done successfully. Seen a few collapsed on the internet for sure. It's so cute. I know. It's very cozy. I know. It's not gone anywhere, I'll tell you that. Any earthbag wall 10 feet that's straight needs a buttress every 10 feet. A T in the wall, yeah. And we'll look at the house, because the house is kind of interesting because it has a lot of internal buttressing. It's designed, and it's one reason we like the roundhouse design so well, because it's so smart about how it buttresses. But also circular walls don't necessarily need buttressing because that circle is always pushing in on itself. Everybody get a chance to look at the dome? Everybody look at the dome? Okay. All right. Can we go to the barn? Okay. We're going to go to the goat barn. We had a whole goat situation. It was over here. So this building used to be our feed shed, and you can see the remainder of the fence that we've since taken down, but the main posts are still there. So that's where the goats used to live. It was not a good setup, especially if you're trying to milk anything. This is a fine storage shed, but it's not very sanitary for milking or keeping feed, or it was not good. So Adelaide was like, can we do something better, please? So we came up with this whole idea we bought like a very used shipping container, and we essentially retrofitted it into the goat barn, as we'll call it now. So we'll go look at that. Okay. That's Trona. We want to make sure the goats don't get out. That's the problem with that. All right, this is the main event. So yeah, basically all this other stuff that we've looked at was like the training ground, you know, to like figure out how to build the house. And like we said, the cool part about that roundhouse in Australia is it's mostly circular. And so that in itself means that it's very inherently strong because of that circular shape. With the straight walls intersecting, that means you also have the opportunity to have more traditional furniture, because if all your walls are circular, that gets really complicated for a lot of things. The footprint is pretty big. It's about a 2,500 square foot house of walkable space. Now, the footprint of the house itself is much bigger than that. This area, we learned a lot about foundations by the time we got to this point. And so we brought in like 300-400 tons of material. I mean, it was so much dirt, and they just kept watering it down and compressing it and running over it. And then we came in and we actually dug out of that compressed area all the areas for the walls themselves. So we marked all that off. We had to dig out everything, because if you're doing earthbag, you really want like a toe hold in the ground. You don't want it to just like sit on top of the ground. So we dug the trenches out. They're about 18 inches down. Got 5 or 6 inches of gravel that have been tamped into place like a rubble trench for drainage and just for compressive strength. And then the lower layers, as you can see, they're all wrapped. Yeah, so all those bags, they all go down like this far. I think there's 3.5 bags underground before it starts coming up out of the ground. And that was by far the worst part of the project. It was terrible. Like, the trenches, you know, we had them dug with a tractor, but we spent so much time fixing them because, you know, the tractor can only do so much. And so we were constantly chopping off the sides and digging out the extra and then putting the gravel back in and making sure it was all perfectly level with a laser level so that we were starting at the same level everywhere. And it was just, we just felt like we were screwing around in the dirt for like 6 months. It was really annoying. And also part of that was plumbing. So all the plumbing was dug into the foundation at that time too. The design of the plumbing is that there's a main trunk line that runs through the whole building and then it branches off to all the different areas. And so that also all had to be dug. It all had to be at a slope, the proper drainage slope. Like it was a whole thing. I hated it. It was the worst. And then it had to be all filled back in. We're at course 21 now. We just finished 21 like 2 days ago, right before you guys got here. Should we walk through?
This whole wall will be the kitchen, counter, there'll be a fridge on this side, pantry on this side, and then a big 4-foot oven. I need a 4-foot oven.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a propane. And then there'll be a wood burning stove here that we'll use in the winter. And there'll be an 11-foot, 11? Yeah, that sounded weird. 11-foot island right across from the window. And then this is the hallway. 5-foot hallway. Well, this is the courtyard door. There'll be a door just to the outside courtyard. This is going to be a big open arch to the mudroom. This is going to get pounded with sun in the summer because of the open courtyard. So we'll open those windows and let all that heat out of the hallway before it reaches the kids' room.
Wow.
So this hopefully keeps everything much cooler.
And with that, friends, the tour was complete. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have time in this video to cover our deep dive talks on solar, permaculture, water pump systems, or even our lively discussion down at the bench at the end of the day where everyone asked a ton of questions and we just answered everything we possibly could. Guess you'll just have to come to the next homestead tour, right? Thanks again to everyone who came to visit, and speaking of visiting, there are still some spots open on the Hyperadobe Planter and Bench Workshop, which is November 1st and 2nd. You can sign up at this link and we would love to see you here. Until next time, friends.
I can never turn it off.